It's about the journey, not the destination. Reality is better than imagination. When I feel free, free to be me. When I feel free, free to be me.
Welcome, everybody, to Travel Your Heart, a podcast where two gay grandpas explore life's travels together. Hi, everybody. It's Grandpa Bobby.
Grandpa Scott.
And welcome to another episode of Travel Your Heart, a podcast from two gay grandpas.
That would be us.
So, happy Pride, everybody.
Happy Pride Month, everybody.
So, what are we going to talk about during this Pride Month, Grandpa?
Well, because it's Pride Month, I thought we might talk about the importance of chosen family and talk a little bit about it generically, but then how it has impacted us.
I see. So,
in our chosen families.
What's the difference? What's a chosen family?
Well, I guess to look at a chosen family, you have to think about biological family, and biological family is the family of blood, the family of kind of your genealogical history.
Mm-hmm.
And then the chosen family are those folks who don't necessarily have the bloodline and may not have that kind of genealogical history, but they are very important to you in terms of their emotional support and their love and their understanding of you.
I see. And, a chosen family doesn't always have to just necessarily pertain to the LGBTQ community. A lot of people move around more so these days than they ever did before. Back when I was younger, even before my generation, you seldom lived more than 20 miles away from your family. So now, with people living in different parts of the country or different parts of the world, having a chosen family can be really important.
Well, absolutely. If I can share a story, personal story, is that my mom was raised before or born before World War II. So World War I, and my dad was born before World War I. So they had a lot of carryover from the 1800s
Mm-hmm.
and all the good and bad that came with that. But they were living in the South, and there was a woman that my mother knew, and one day she shared with my mother that she was in an abusive relationship. And back in those days, family members and friends were telling her, "You married him, you have to stay with him," And they pulled in the whole issue of, marriage is lifelong.
Until death do us part.
Death do you part. But she was the one being abused. And she would speak to my mom quite a bit about that. And then one time she says, I got to leave him, Marie, I got to leave him, but I don't know what I'm going to do. And I remember the story that was shared with me about my mom is she took her egg money. And for those of you too young to know, egg money back then was a lot of women who were responsible for the house. They would collect the money that they were given, and they would put it aside, and it would be used for food, clothes, all this kind of stuff. And there's always a little bit set aside for that emergency. And my mom gave her egg money to that woman to leave, and my mom got hell for it. But that was my mom not being bloodline, but being
Chosen family.
Chosen family to help her sister out.
Oh.
And I'm talking sister in terms of
Sister woman.
sisterhood.
Yeah.
All right. And I was very proud of learning
That's
that about
awesome.
my mom.
Well, and from our own experience, both Scott and I met and lived together in San Francisco. In a city which we had no relationships or no friends when we moved there, and building a family of LGBTQ members was such an enriching part of our lives. Especially since we weren't close to our family, it gave us those people that we shared holidays with, that you shared a birthday with, that you shared problems and joys at the same time.
Well, and when you say close, we mean geographically close.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
We were fortunate enough to have very close bonds with family members. Oh, in my family, some were close and some were not when I came out.
Yeah, my family was very supportive of our relationship. But, sometimes when they're distantly far away, that support can only go so far.
Yeah.
And having a chosen family gives you that cushion, that fallback position where you know there are people that are there for you. And also another thing I wanted to point out is that even if you are lucky enough to have a supportive biological family, they may not understand completely what you're going through as an LGBTQ member. There may be some difficulties, or there may be some challenges or stresses that you're facing that you can't always relate to your family. But having a chosen family really helps to give you that sounding board. People who can understand, empathize with what you're going through.
Yeah, there are things that happen within the queer world that, as much as our allies and maybe my siblings and parents want to understand, they may not fully. And so it's really wonderful to have that kind of chosen family who can understand on a very much deeper level some of the things you experience in our queer community. And I think one of the things that I enjoyed most in terms of chosen family in San Francisco was we had a large group prior to HIV/AIDS that couldn't get home for a lot of reasons. Either financially they couldn't get home, or maybe the relationship with their parents was not good, or they just weren't invited there. And we would have Thanksgiving dinners. We would cook Thanksgiving dinner and sometimes have 18 and 20 people at our house. And we'd cook a huge turkey and we'd have all the fixings. And it was a wonderful time to sit at that table. And you're looking around and you're going, this is family.
Yeah. And conversely, there were also some times, I remember when you were between jobs that one time, and it was a recession in the 80s when we were financially strapped and our friends fed us. I remember that.
Oh, yes. It was two of our friends worked for the state, so they get their paychecks at the beginning of the month, I believe,
yeah.
right? So they were always in it at the beginning of the month.
By the end.
Yeah, by the end, not so much. So in the beginning, they kind of shared with us because we were being paid,
every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. That's when
you work in corporate.
When I was working corporate. So at the end of the month, maybe the last week and a half, we stepped in, and then it was us helping them get through. And we were like brothers.
Yeah. Well, and also many times your chosen family might be in the same age group you are. So we went through things together of getting your first apartment, getting your first home, renovating your home, just going through some of those changes together made it doubly enjoyable.
Yeah. And they were also there for the not so great times when we started losing close family members to AIDS. And we felt very isolated. We felt alone. And many times we felt like our government didn't give a shit about us. And so we kind of like circle the wagons.
Yeah.
And our chosen family supported each other. They wouldn't let us give blood, but our lesbian sisters stepped in, and they did. And that will always be a deep part of my heart, how in that community, the sisters
supported us. And we knew of many instances where biological family had rejected someone who was dying of AIDS, and the chosen family, and especially roommates, literally took over caring for them right up until the very end, visiting at the hospital, just taking care of their bills.
Even taking care of the funeral or cremations, because families didn't want the bodies.
Yeah. I will say that after, as we have expressed, we have lost a significant number of our chosen family. And there came a time, there was a period of years where we kind of shut down from that. And we were more just a couple and just kind of internalizing. But in recent years, we've opened up again. And we never thought that we would have chosen family at this phase of our lives because when we were younger, we were young and experiencing things and growing. And you find you have a lot more friends then. You're more friend oriented. Whereas in your later years, you become more family oriented, especially if you have kids and then grandkids. And yet now, as in our senior years, we have once again
Are seasoned.
years, sorry. And we have established a friendship network again.
Yeah.
It's different, but now
And it's within the queer and the straight community.
Yes, we found that that's really beneficial. Of course, when we were first starting out, it was much younger and gay community wasn't as prevalent. It wasn't as accepted. We had not expanded really beyond, well, the Castro area where we lived. Now we're everywhere. And we're finding also that our straight brothers and sisters are much more open and welcoming.
Even in this environment, which kind of leads me for a moment to talk about the role of chosen family in these very difficult times we're experiencing here. We get, like you mentioned, we had the young man talking to us about his country in Africa. It's illegal and can lead to death. And we had that wonderful young lady. Well, I shouldn't have identified.
You didn't say her name.
We had a young person from Russia, who had sent a message to us talking to us about how, the LGBTQ plus community is identified as terrorist in their country and they're treated that way. It's horrible for them there. So we're finding right now that with two gay grandpas, we've become kind of part of a chosen family. And yes, admittedly, it's digital, and it's out there, but it is there, we're finding out. And so I'm very proud that
in
if we have that role.
In any small way. But, because what's the point of a chosen family? To be supportive.
Yeah.
In essence, that's the whole basic of it, to be supportive, to be there. And if we can provide that role, however small, that really means a lot to us. We never thought that would occur, but we take it seriously and we feel it's a responsibility, which is why we want to portray our lives honestly and be there for those people that want to reach out.
Yeah, it's a whole lot about love. And right now, even in the United States of America, our country, the hate seems to be rather strong. We had no idea that a lot of the battles that we fought, and boy, does this echo what our sisters have felt in terms of reproductive rights. We never thought, we were going to have to go back and fight these battles over again.
Yeah.
We didn't. We thought we were progressing, but guess what? We're having to fight. We're having to resist. We're having to struggle again. So it's very important to keep some love in your heart, keep your focus, and keep that chosen tribe around you.
That's right. And there are more issues than just being LGBTQ. Right
Absolutely.
now, immigrants in our country are facing untold pressures. Having that chosen family to support in your community, there are a lot of people not feeling included right now.
No.
And I think more now than ever, a chosen family who can be there to support you, just to help you out with little things. Maybe if it's to take you to the doctor if you're sick, to check on your mail if you're not there, to watch out for your house, just to share a house.
Cut the lawn if you're
Exactly.
senior, you just don't have the energy to do that. Cut their lawn.
Yeah, chosen family isn't age specific or gender specific. It can spread what we have learned in our own experience. It can be valuable at any point in your life and can be definitely life affirming and supportive.
Absolutely.
So your two gay grandpas are here to be that digital family for you. If you have any comments you'd like to let us know, if anything you want to discuss, shoot us a message. We're always here for you.
And we'll respond. We will respond. That's one of the things we wanted you to know. We do respond to messages. Takes us a while because we do get a few now. But we will respond.
Yeah. And so, we don't want to end this on a sad note.
Yeah.
This is Pride Month. Take pride in everything we have accomplished and know that good times are coming. We shall endure.
We have a history and we have a voice and we can resist and we can not only survive, folks, we can succeed and grow.
Yeah.
No one has the right to stop us and we will not let them.
That's right. Organize, be together with your chosen family, stand up in numbers, be heard, be expressed, be you, and be proud.
Love.
So until next time, this is two gay grandpas who are wishing you a happy Pride Month. And always remember, wherever you're traveling, whether you're traveling around the world or whether you're just traveling through life, always remember, travel your heart. Bye-bye, folks.
Happy Pride.